Hi, this is Russ Kern from J&A Business Solutions, and you're watching this video because you're tired of the ridiculous merchant services hidden fees. Well, we're here to help. My partner Steve Lotzbeck and I believe the merchant services industry has a black eye and operates with a lack of transparency and integrity. However, the biggest problem is most business owners are too busy running their business and don't even know what's happening to them in terms of the hidden fees they are being charged. And they're not just hidden fees, they're actually fraudulent fees. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. But before I do, let me just say this happens industry-wide, across the board, to the majority of businesses, and it needs to stop. Now, J&A Business Solutions is here to turn the tide and reverse this way of doing business. We take pride in that, and we believe we will gain business as a result of operating the exact opposite of what the industry does. In other words, we're going to make our money by providing value, honesty, and transparency. We won't make money stealing from your hard-earned profits. Now let me show you what I mean. Let's go to the first example right here. And of course, I'm not showing, this is one of our current clients whose merchant statement we reviewed. I'm not going to obviously show their information. I would never do that for any one of our accounts. But I do want to show you real quick what I'm talking about as just one example of what's going on in this industry. Now, as a recap up here, you can see by card that's charged and the total transactions for the month totaling 217 transactions for this particular month for this merchant. Okay? Now, keep that 217 in mind. Let's go to page 2. And you say, well, that could be page 2 from any account. Well, it's actually not, because if you add up all these transactions right here on the screen, you can pause this and do that. You'll see they equal 217 from the prior page 1. Okay, but here's where it gets interesting. You follow the arrow down. Here's a recap by card of the total transactions for the month, and all of a sudden, it went from 217 to 442, more than double the monthly transactions. This is typical, guys. This is typical of what's going on in this industry, and Steve and I will not have any part of it, and that's why businesses are flooding to us, because we're providing the lowest rates in the industry and eliminating these fraudulent charges. Now let me show you just one other example. Example 2, page 1. Again, at the top of the page, you can see there's 197 total transactions for the month, and you can see by card. So if you want to add them up for the next page, you know, American Express 20, Discover 1, etc., 197. Let's go to page 2. And again, if you add all these up, they're going to add to 197. So you can tell it's from page 1. And if you add up all the transactions from the prior page by card, you could see that, well, obviously these are off because they're double. As you saw on the last page, Discover only had one transaction. And out of the 197, they've taken it up to 403. Again, more than double the monthly transactions. And let me just tell you, there are many other scenarios, not just the doubling of transactions, but the adding in of, let's just call them fake fees. And I could do another video on that. I could go all day on this, but I think you get the point by what I'm showing you here. Now, it's not your fault, because you're busy every day running your business, as you should be, and attending to your business. You should have a reliable, honest merchant service who has integrity, who's not doing this to you, who's actually charging you for what they say they are based on the agreement they put in place with you. Okay? So this needs to stop, and Steve and I are here to help you. Okay, so here's another example that we wanted to share with you. And in this particular case, this is a different account. Again, the key information is blocked off. What we want you to focus on is right down in this area right here, which will carry over the next couple of pages I'm going to share with you. So right here on this particular contract, and this was a contract that our client now signed with their prior merchant service provider before having us do an analysis. So they agreed to a fixed rate. Fixed rates can be good in some situations and can work against you in some situations, and we help with that as well. But in this particular case, they signed a fixed rate with our client. 1.69 for qualified credit and 0.69 for qualified debit. I want you to keep these two in mind, these two rates, as I'll reference them over the next couple of pages. So let's move to example number 1. So on this particular page, right here, when we're talking about under MasterCard, the first amount of volume here for this particular month and the rate they're charged, well, as I just showed you on the prior slide, it should be 1.69%. As you can clearly see, it's not. Now, of course, they put it in this format, but if you move it over 2 places, it's actually 2.2%. So the difference is they were charged $665 and change, and they should have been charged $504, which results in about a $160 difference or thereabouts. Don't hold me to that, but you can clearly see the difference. And there's that's just being fraudulent. That's all that is. Okay. The other thing to take note of here on this particular line under MasterCard charges, that there were actually 94 charges when we went through the analysis, and they charged them for 135 at 25 cents a pop right here. Okay, so this is going to carry over to the next page I'll share with you. And then down, and that's the qualified credit rate. This is the qualified debit rate, where again it's supposed to be 0.69. We showed you on the prior page, and they're charging 1.2%, which at the 1.2% is $156, where they actually should have been charged $87.50. So you can see that this adds up depending on number of locations, depending on volume, depending on the number of transactions they add. Just incredibly deceitful and fraudulent. And let me take you to the last page. A bunch of stuff on here really to carry over from the added transactions. There were actually 14 here, and they charged for 16 at 25 cents. And then there were 83, and they charged for 87 at 25 cents. This was actually even, so they didn't overcharge in this particular category. But in total, as you can, I hope, make out down at the bottom, that's 47 added transactions at 25 cents a pop. So it's not a ton of money, but it's stealing is what it is. It's fraudulent. That money should be going to this account's bottom line in just the added transactions alone. But then you go back again and you look at on this particular page the $100 and whatever $60 or $50 I said here, and the difference here. So you add that up with the $12 here and here, you can start to see how this adds up to be a lot of money. And they don't really care about what they originally signed with this account right here. They just, this is what happens time and time again. Review after analysis that we do for every one of our accounts. Every one of them is littered with what I showed you in the beginning of the video, things here, and there's much, much more that we just can't cover because I don't want this video to be too long. But I wanted to share this with you to give some clear examples on what happens in this industry, and it's why we're looking to turn the tides. Now, J&A will not only cut out these fraudulent and added transactions, we're also going to lower every account's overall effective rate. Now, how can we do that? Well, it's really simple. Excuse me. It's really simple. We are not the largest organization in the merchant service industry, but we can provide the same level of service, and in most cases so much better in terms of customer service, security, and transparency. We don't have a large office or a huge staff and all the expenses that go with that. We operate effectively and efficiently, and we can handle any size operations. So we aren't looking to gouge each customer, as obviously the majority of processors are, as you've seen in these examples. Now, we have a simple belief, and that is we know our business will grow consistently if we simply do the right thing for our clients. That's what works for us, and that's why our customer retention is very high. Now, if these things are happening to you, we will find it and we will show you in detail. We do a review and analysis that goes far deeper than the majority, if not all, service providers perform, because we take this seriously and we care. So let us help you put more money into your bottom line where it belongs, not in the bonuses given to executives of these large firms. Thanks for your attention.